What if I told you that a stranger could change the way you feel about them in less than a second without saying a single word? No handshake, no introduction, just eyes. Right now, somewhere in the world, someone is deciding whether to trust a person they just met. Not because of what that person said, because of how long they held their gaze. We do this every single day. In job interviews, on first dates, in arguments with people we love. And almost none of us realize how much power is hiding in something as small as a glance. So here's the question we're going to answer today. Why does looking into someone's eyes feel like the most intimate, most dangerous, most revealing thing two humans can do? Let's find out. Eye contact is one of the oldest communication systems we have. Older than language, older than writing, and your brain treats it like a survival tool, not just a social nicety. Every day, without thinking, you use eye contact to size up strangers, build trust, spark attraction, project confidence, and detect danger. You've been doing it since you were a few months old, long before you understood a single word. By the end of this video, you'll understand why some people can hold a room just by how they look at it. Why avoiding eye contact isn't always what you think it means, and why the length of a single glance can decide whether two people fall in love or start a fight. Here's something strange. Humans are the only primates with a large visible white area around the iris, the sclera. Most animals hide it. Researchers believe this evolved for a reason. It makes our eyes easy to read. Other animals conceal where they're looking because looking somewhere can reveal a hunting target or an escape route. Humans did the opposite. We evolved eyes built for being watched. That's not an accident. It suggests that being able to track each other's gaze, to know instantly what someone else is looking at, became more valuable to our ancestors than staying hidden. Why? Because knowing where someone is looking tells you what they're thinking about. Danger, food, arrival, a potential mate. Long before spoken language existed, the eyes were already talking. That's the foundation everything else is built on. Here's where it gets interesting. When two people make sustained eye contact, the brain doesn't just process an image. It activates regions tied to social bonding, including circuits linked to oxytocin, a hormone associated with trust and connection. At the same time, mirror neurons come into play. These are brain cells that fire both when you perform an action and when you watch someone else perform it. Some researchers believe this mirroring system helps us emotionally feel what another person feels when we lock eyes with them, a kind of borrowed emotion passed silently through a look. This is why a good listener who maintains steady, natural eye contact feels more trustworthy, even if you can't explain why. Your brain isn't analyzing their words as much as it's reading their gaze. Think about the last time someone truly listened to you, eyes locked in, nodding along. It probably felt different than talking to someone glued to their phone. That difference isn't just politeness, it's neurological. Now here's a myth we need to break immediately. Avoiding eye contact does not mean someone is lying. That belief is everywhere, in movies, in interrogation shows, in office gossip. But psychological research on deception has repeatedly failed to find a reliable link between eye contact and dishonesty. In fact, some people avoid eye contact for the exact opposite reason, because they're anxious, overwhelmed, or trying very hard to seem honest. For people with social anxiety, prolonged eye contact can feel physically uncomfortable, even threatening. For autistic individuals, eye contact can be genuinely overstimulating. Some research suggests it activates heightened activity in brain regions involved in processing faces and emotional signals, making sustained gaze feel intense rather than natural. This isn't rudeness. It isn't guilt. It's a different way the brain processes the same signal. Shame and guilt can also make people look away, but so can shyness, cultural upbringing, or simple exhaustion. In many cultures, particularly across parts of Asia, Africa, and the Middle East, avoiding direct eye contact with elders or authority figures is a sign of respect, not deception. The lesson here is simple. Eye contact is not a lie detector. It's a mirror of what's happening internally, and that internal world is far more complicated than guilty or innocent. Here's a question worth sitting with. Can staring into someone's eyes actually make you fall for them? One of the most cited studies in this space, led by psychologist Arthur Aron in the 1990s, had strangers ask each other a series of increasingly personal questions, then stare silently into each other's eyes for 4 minutes. Many participants reported feeling a startling sense of closeness afterward. Some even described falling in love. The study wasn't really about eye contact alone. The personal questions mattered enormously too. But the final step, the sustained, silent eye contact, is the part that stuck in public memory because it captured something real. Prolonged eye contact intensifies emotional vulnerability. Why does this happen? Sustained eye contact keeps both nervous systems activated and alert. Combine that arousal with a warm, non-threatening context, and the brain can misread the intensity as attraction, a phenomenon consistent with a much older psychological idea called the misattribution of arousal. That's part of why prolonged eye contact on a date feels so charged. You're not just looking at someone's face, you're syncing your nervous system to theirs. Watch any skilled public speaker, negotiator, or leader, and you'll notice something they all share. They don't dart their eyes around the room. They hold steady, comfortable eye contact, not aggressive, just present. In job interviews, moderate natural eye contact is consistently associated with perceptions of confidence and competence. Too little, and you risk appearing nervous or evasive. Too much, unbroken and unblinking, and you risk appearing intimidating or strange. The sweet spot researchers often point to is somewhere around 60 to 70% of a conversation, enough to signal engagement and confidence, broken up naturally so it doesn't feel like a stare down. This is why the most respected leaders in a room often aren't the loudest people. They're the ones whose eyes say, "I'm not afraid to be seen." But there's a shadow side to all of this. Eye contact can just as easily become a tool of dominance. In many primate species, direct sustained staring is a threat display, a way of establishing hierarchy. Some of that instinct still lives in us. Unbroken staring, especially from a stranger, can trigger genuine physiological stress. It's why prolonged eye contact from an aggressive stranger on the street feels threatening, while the same duration from someone you love feels intimate. The difference isn't the eye contact itself, it's context, relationship, and intent. Healthy eye contact ebbs and flows. It invites connection. Domineering eye contact tries to control it. Your nervous system usually knows the difference before your conscious mind catches up. Let's step back and connect the dots. Neuroscience research using eye tracking and brain imaging has shown that seeing a face making direct eye contact activates the brain faster and more strongly than a face looking away. Our attention is almost automatically hijacked by a direct gaze. This is sometimes called the eye contact effect. Studies also show infants as young as a few months old prefer looking at faces with direct gaze over averted gaze, suggesting this sensitivity to eye contact is present shockingly early in human development, possibly even innate. None of this means eye contact is magic. It means your brain has spent millions of years being wired to treat a fellow human's gaze as one of the most important signals in your environment. That's not folklore. That's measurable biology. So what do you actually do with all of this? First, aim for natural rhythm, not a stare. Hold eye contact for a few seconds, glance briefly away, then return. This mimics how comfortable, confident people naturally behave. Second, in conversations, use eye contact more while listening than while speaking. It signals attentiveness without feeling like a performance. Third, if you're nervous in high-stakes moments like interviews or public speaking, try looking at the space between someone's eyebrows. It reads as direct eye contact to the other person, while feeling slightly less intense to you. Fourth, remember that different cultures and different nervous systems experience eye contact differently. Confidence isn't about maximizing eye contact. It's about being comfortable enough not to force it and not to flee from it either. Here's what's remarkable about all of this. In a world full of words, one of our most powerful forms of communication doesn't use language at all. Every time you look into someone's eyes, you're participating in a system that predates speech, predates writing, predates civilization itself. You're using a form of communication your ancestors relied on to find safety, connection, and love, long before they had words to describe any of it. So the next time someone looks into your eyes, really looks, pay attention to what you feel. You may be witnessing one of the oldest forms of human communication still alive today. If this changed the way you think about something as small as a glance, hit like and subscribe. It genuinely helps this channel grow. I'd love to know, what's the longest eye contact you've ever shared with someone and how did it make you feel? Tell me in the comments. Until next time, keep questioning the mind behind every human behavior.